like Putin's tablecloth, we've got a lot to cover, so let's rush into it. Rush, never mind. The summer sporting barbecue that is Euro 2024 is keeping us well fed for international football at the moment, so in all the excitement you might have missed the highly important and ancient Baltic Cup, a biannual competition between Estonia, Latvia and Lithuania, for which Faroe Islands were invited guests this year. This looked like a great chance to prove ourselves against some relatively similar opponents. In fact, Faroe Islands outrank Latvia and Lithuania in the FIFA rankings, with Estonia only 10 places higher. Incoming silver medal then? Well, no. The 10th place golf to Estonia showed in the opening match as they won 4-1. It was 1-1 at half time, with NSI Runevik's Peter Knudsen putting the Faroes ahead, but the second half was a bit of a drubbing, and it meant the Faroes went into the 3rd place playoff against Latvia. Okay, this is definitely winnable. Bronze is fine for a debut. What have the Faroe Islands got? Well, it was a more even game, but the Faroe Islands couldn't sneak past Riga's Richard Metrovic in goal, and Latvia took advantage, winning 1-0 and taking the bronze home. It meant that the Faroes didn't even get on the podium in a 4-team tournament. Disappointing. But a moment of success for Gulbrandr Øregård, who plays for Norwegian side Sandnes Ulf, who made his international debut in the game against Latvia. There was success elsewhere though, so we should congratulate the Faroese women's team, who got their first competitive win in 7 years, beating Andorra 4-0 in Euro 2025 qualifying. Their last win of any sort came in a 3-2 win over Latvia, in fact, in October 2022, but their last competitive win was a 2-1 win over Turkey in World Cup qualification back in April 2017. There was also the release of the new Faroese national shirt from Area, which looks pretty nice. That gap in the middle might look like they've just forgotten to put a sponsor in, but as you can see from the Baltic Cup games, that's where the front-facing squad numbers go. The official away jersey is a good strong blue, and there is a third choice black shirt too. They are available to buy on the internet. Finally, on the international front, a quick side note to say well done to Klaksvik's Rene Eriksen Petersen, who got his first international cap in June playing for Greenland in their 5-0 defeat to Turkmenistan, which took place in Turkey because football. On to domestic football, and before we look at the league, the draws have been made for the European tournaments using an unnecessarily complicated seeded and unseeded micro-grouping system, which, for the Champions League, meant that Klaksvik could only be drawn against 5 of the 15 potential opponents. Journeys to Slovenia, Northern Ireland, Lithuania and Iceland were all on the cards, but Klaksvik got drawn against Luxembourgonians FC Differdange 03, and that isn't just lazy editing, their crest actually includes the big black box. They won the league title last year for the first time since 1979. Klaksvik have never played in Luxembourg before, but Differdange have visited our fair isles in the past. Back in 2012, in the first qualifying round of the Europa League that year, they flew in to take on NSI Runewig. They won both legs 3-0, and yes, a 22-year-old Clement Olsen was playing for NSI in that tie. The winner of that tie will play Malmö in the second qualifying round. Malmö have played just one Faroese team in the past, beating HB 3-1 at the same stage in 2011. Klagsvik's last meeting with the Swedish team was a memorable one, beating Häcken on penalties also at this stage last season. By the way, Klagsvik released a 1-hour documentary on their YouTube page recently, going through the emotions of becoming the first Faroese team to reach a European group stage. I'll pop a link in the description, but if you get to the end of this video and decide you want another full hour of Faroese football, and why wouldn't you, then that should be your first point of call. In the Conference League first qualifying round, we had 2 representatives in an even more complicated draw, where they drew multiple ties at the same time by giving numbers to teams in groups and splitting them all into 5 groups of 10 with just 5 seeded teams. Oh my god, just put everyone in a bag and pour them out one by one! Anyway, both Faroese sides in the hat were drawn against Latvian sides in what is proving to be quite a profitable summer for Latvian airports, with Faroese footballers flying in every other week. B36 will play FK Auda from just outside the capital Riga, with the first leg in Latvia. FK Auda made their European debut last season and lost in the second qualifying round 4-1 to Spartak Trnava from Slovakia, and last year finished 3rd in the Latvian league. B36 haven't travelled to Latvia for 20 years, having last played Liepāja in 2004 and losing 11-2 on aggregate. And guess what? Vojtinga Goethe have been drawn against Liepāja and would travel to the west coast of the country to play the same team. Well, not quite the same. Liepāja Metallurgs folded in 2013 and was replaced by the current day Liepāja. They actually finished 5th in the Latvian league last year and only qualified for the Champions League because 4th place Valmiera were denied a UEFA licence. So it will be a bit annoying if Vojtinga get kicked out of the tournament by a team that technically shouldn't have qualified, but hey, whatever, that's football. Vojtinga have also played in Latvia before. They played the now defunct FC Daugava in 2014, the same year Daugava were kicked out of the league for match fixing. If Vojtinga get past Liepāja, they will play Ghent in the second qualifying round. If B36 beat Auda, they are up against Cliftonville from Northern Ireland. All of these first round European ties will take place in the 2nd and 3rd weeks of July. Where are HB in all of this? Didn't they win the Faroese Cup by beating B68 Toftir? Yes they did, well remembered, and as a reward they don't enter the Conference League until the second qualifying round, where they have a difficult game against Croatian's Hajduk Split. HB have never played a Croatian team before, and in Hajduk Split's rich European history they've only played a Faroese team once. Georg Goethe, now known as Vojtinga Goethe of course, hosted the Croatians way back in 2002 and got absolutely walloped 11-0 over 2 legs. Klaksvík may also appear at this point. If they lose that Champions League tie to Differdange, they will drop into the Conference League second qualifying round, where they would face a very long away day, as they would play either Petroclub Hinchesti from Moldova or Ordubasi from Kazakhstan, over 5,000 kilometers away. Incredibly, despite Kazakh sides playing a total of 344 games against European opponents, no Kazakh team has ever played a Faroese side. So whatever happens to B36 and Vojtinga, there will be at least one Faroese representative in the next round of the Conference League, but you'd like to think we can put the Latvians in their place, which is Latvia. Let's discuss the last few weeks of the Faroese Premier League, and the big news is that Klaksvík's old title-winning, Europe-surprising, all-conquering manager Magni Hoseth is back. But not at Klaksvík. He's taken over at B36 after Dan Brimsvik left a few weeks ago after a lukewarm start to the season, where they picked up less than half the points of HB. B36 played out one of the most interesting games of the season a few weeks ago, holding 07 Vesta to a 4-4 draw. Klaksvík are persevering with Espen Haug in charge, but he's still only interim manager technically while he acquires an official coaching badge. This hasn't held Klaksvík back though, as they've won 6 of their last 8, including a 2-1 win over EB Strømmen where they finished with 9 men. Their 2 defeats though were damaging defeats to the 2 teams above them, 2-0 to league leaders Vojtinga, who have won 13 out of 14 games and would look good for the title if not for the fact that HB have also won 13 out of 14 and sit behind them on goal difference only. Klaksvík lost 3-0 to HB last weekend, which is their biggest defeat in the league for nearly 4 years. B36's middling start has opened the door for NSO Runavík to sneak into a potential European slot, sitting 4th after 14 games. At the other end of the table, OIF are having a nightmare of a season. Still no win to their name and just 3 points on the board. 2 of those points came in draws against the team directly above them, B68 Toftir, who finally got their first win of the season at the 12th time of asking. They beat the team directly above them, EB Strømmen 2-0. EBS are having a rather difficult season and are well below their normal performances. Like B68 Toftir, they also sit on 7 points. The only win they had in June was against the team directly above them, Skala. Skala's haul of 13 points from 13 games is a great return for them, based on their last 2 seasons in the top flight, where they scored just 10 points each time. With a gap of 6 points to the drop, they'll be looking to secure their spot in the league next season as soon as possible. They did come close to gifting OIF a point, but a late goal by Marcus Isaacson gave them a vital 3 points in a 3-2 win. And just above them are 07 Vesta, who, while not quite hitting the heights of last year, are only a few points off the top 5, so anything can happen yet. Finally, and truly finally, there's the small matter of the Faroese Cup semi-finals, where a lot of eyes were watching to see if First Division TB could maximise their surprise first leg win over B36. They'd won 1-0 at home, but come the second leg, B36 took no chances and came away with a comfortable 3-0 win, ending TB's dreams of a first cup final since 1981. Meanwhile, several miles north, HB were 2-1 up on aggregate against Vojtinga Goethe and heading for the final too, but with 20 minutes to go the game was abandoned due to high wind. Now the Faroe Islands is no stranger to high winds, but even for them, trying to play football in wind speeds of 60 miles an hour is a little too dangerous. So the second leg has been rearranged for August the 22nd. The final isn't until November anyway, so loads of time. Here's the table after 14 games each, just over halfway through the season. Let's have 5 seconds of silence to really soak it in. In the first division, island rivals Suðuroy and TB are in a great fight for promotion. TB were relegated last year. Suðuroy haven't been in the top flight under their own power since 2015, not counting the 2 years they spent as brothers in arms with TB in the short-lived TB FCS Royn. There's a video on that. So there you are, you're all up to date. I do feel now this could have been 3 or 4 smaller, easily digestible videos, but equally, an avalanche of information is sometimes a bit more fun. Tack for watching, thank you for joining in, have a lovely summer, and I'll see you next time.